What if I told you that within you lies an immense reservoir of strength, one that can help you navigate life's challenges with calm and resilience? Imagine being able to meet obstacles not with fear, but with clarity and purpose. This is not just a fantasy. It's the kind of mastery that Stoic philosophy has offered for centuries. In this video, we are going to explore 15 powerful Stoic tips that will help you unlock your inner strength and achieve a higher level of self-mastery. These insights aren't just philosophical concepts. They are actionable strategies that have stood the test of time, empowering countless individuals to overcome adversity and live in harmony with their values. Whether you're struggling to maintain balance in a chaotic world, battling self-doubt, or simply seeking a path to greater wisdom, the principles of Stoicism can transform your life. By the end of this video, you will not only have a deeper understanding of Stoic thought, but you will also be equipped with practical tools to cultivate resilience, sharpen your focus, and align your actions with your true values. Stay with us, and let's embark on this journey together to unlock the power of Stoicism for a life of purpose and inner strength. 1. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude, as simple as it may sound, is one of the most powerful tools that Stoic philosophy offers us. But how often do you stop to truly reflect on what you have? How often do you allow yourself to feel contentment with the blessings that surround you rather than focusing on what is missing? In the chaotic rush of daily life, we tend to lose sight of the many small gifts we experience every day. The warmth of the sun on your face, the kindness of a stranger, the satisfaction of completing a task. These moments of joy, when recognized and acknowledged, can shift your perspective from one of scarcity to one of abundance. Marcus Aurelius famously advised us to dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them. This practice of reflection and appreciation is fundamental to Stoicism, but it is more than just a fleeting thought of thankfulness. It is a way of training your mind to seek out and appreciate the good in every situation. Let's think about it. What would your life look like if you made gratitude a daily practice? What if you chose to focus on the abundance around you rather than dwelling on what's lacking? Stoicism teaches that gratitude not only makes us more content, but it also prepares us for life's inevitable hardships. When we appreciate the present moment, we are less disturbed by potential loss or future uncertainty. By anchoring ourselves in gratitude, we build emotional resilience. One simple exercise you can start today is to write down 3 things you are grateful for every morning. They don't have to be grand or life-changing. They can be as simple as enjoying a cup of coffee or having a peaceful moment to yourself. Over time, this habit will train your brain to notice the positive aspects of your life and, more importantly, to stop taking them for granted. Gratitude also shifts your relationships. When you approach others with a grateful heart, they respond in kind. Gratitude fosters warmth, connection, and mutual respect. It can transform how you interact with others, leading to deeper and more fulfilling relationships. How often do we stop to thank those around us for their support, their kindness, or simply for being in our lives? As you continue this practice, ask yourself, how has gratitude changed your perspective? What challenges now seem less daunting because you have chosen to focus on the good in your life? And most importantly, how can you spread this attitude of gratitude to those around you, helping them to find the same inner peace? When we cultivate gratitude, we don't just enrich our own lives, we contribute to the well-being of others as well. This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism, that personal growth and self-mastery are deeply intertwined with the collective good. As we become more grateful, we also become more aware of the impact we have on others, and this leads us seamlessly to our next point, the importance of doing hard things. Now that you understand the significance of gratitude, let's move to the next essential practice in Stoic philosophy. Do the hard things. 2. Do the hard things. Stoicism teaches us that challenges are not just to be endured, but to be sought out. The path to self-mastery is paved with obstacles, yet it is through these very obstacles that we grow. Are you avoiding discomfort because it's easier to stay within your comfort zone? What might your life look like if you chose to embrace the difficult tasks instead of running from them? Consider the last time you faced a challenge that seemed insurmountable. Perhaps it was a project at work, a personal relationship, or even a physical goal that pushed you to your limits. How did you feel once you overcame it? That feeling of accomplishment, of having conquered something you once thought impossible, is the purest form of personal growth. Stoicism asks us to not only accept these challenges, but to seek them out as opportunities to strengthen our character. The Stoics believed that hardship is the furnace in which virtue is forged. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This simple but profound statement invites us to view every obstacle as an essential part of our journey. When you choose to face the difficult things head-on, you are engaging in a profound act of self-improvement. But what does it mean to do hard things? It can be as simple as taking on a new skill that intimidates you, or as complex as mending a broken relationship. The key is to lean into discomfort, to step out of your comfortable routine and actively engage with what challenges you. Ask yourself, what difficult task have you been avoiding? Maybe it's the conversation you need to have, but fear has held you back. Or perhaps it's a fitness goal that seems too far out of reach. Whatever it is, identify it and lean into it. This is where the greatest growth happens. There is no mastery without challenge. Each time you overcome an obstacle, you expand the boundaries of what you believed was possible for yourself. You begin to realize that you are capable of far more than you once imagined. But this realization only comes when you push yourself beyond your current limitations. The Stoic view of hardship extends beyond the personal. It encourages us to understand that our struggles are a shared human experience. When we embrace difficulty, we also become more empathetic toward others facing their own challenges. How can you use your own journey through hardship to inspire others? How can you encourage those around you to step into their discomfort, knowing that growth lies on the other side? This mindset of actively doing hard things builds not just resilience, but also a sense of purpose. It shifts your focus from simply surviving difficult situations to thriving because of them. Life becomes less about avoiding pain and more about seeking the opportunities for growth that lie within it. So, the next time you find yourself hesitating, remember the words of Seneca. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. By doing hard things, you build not only physical endurance, but mental fortitude. You train yourself to handle life's inevitable challenges with grace and strength. Now that you're prepared to face the tough tasks ahead, let's explore how to ensure that the time you spend on these challenges is used wisely and efficiently. After all, time is our most precious resource, and how we choose to spend it defines the quality of our lives. Let's dive into the next principle. Protect your time, because without managing time, even our greatest efforts can be wasted. 3. Protect your time. Time, in the eyes of Stoicism, is our most valuable asset. Unlike money, possessions, or even relationships, time is something we can never recover once it's gone. How much time do you waste on activities that don't serve your highest goals? Have you ever stopped to reflect on how quickly hours, days, and years can slip by without intention? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, reminds us to treat every day as if it were our last, not in a morbid way, but in a way that compels us to live each moment with purpose. In his Meditations, he wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. While you have life in you, while you still can, become good." This Stoic principle of protecting time asks us to critically evaluate how we spend our moments. Each hour wasted is an hour that could have been used for personal growth, to build relationships, or to contribute meaningfully to the world? How often do we lose precious time to distractions like social media, meaningless conversations, or tasks that are out of alignment with our core values? To protect your time, you must first be clear on what truly matters to you. What are your long-term goals? What kind of person do you want to become? Once you've established this clarity, every decision about how to spend your time becomes easier. The Stoic approach is about intentionality. When you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to another. Are you making the right trade-offs? One of the simplest yet most effective Stoic practices is to create boundaries around your time. This could mean setting limits on how long you engage with distractions, or establishing a daily schedule that prioritizes your most important tasks. By doing so, you free yourself from the tyranny of endless to-do lists and meaningless obligations. You give yourself the space to focus on what truly matters. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you protected your time as fiercely as you protect your money or your possessions. Would you spend hours scrolling through your phone, or would you invest that time in learning something new, connecting with a loved one, or working toward your dreams? Remember, every moment you spend is a choice. What will you choose to do with the time you have? Will you let it slip through your fingers, or will you guard it and use it to build the life you desire? Now, let's take a moment to remind ourselves of the importance of staying engaged. If you found the wisdom in these first few Stoic teachings helpful, I encourage you to stay until the end of the video. Every principle we explore builds on the last, and by watching through to the conclusion, you'll have a full understanding of how these timeless Stoic lessons can transform your life. Next, once we understand the value of time, we need to consider the quality of the people we spend that time with. This brings us to the next principle. Surround yourself with the right people. 4. Surround yourself with the right people. The Stoics believed that the people we surround ourselves with play a crucial role in shaping our character. Just as a plant thrives in fertile soil, we too flourish when we are in the company of those who inspire, challenge, and uplift us. Who do you spend the most time with? Do they encourage your growth, or do they pull you into complacency? In today's world, it's easy to fall into relationships of convenience rather than intention. But Stoicism reminds us that every person we allow into our lives has a direct impact on our mindset, habits, and ultimately, our destiny. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." This means choosing friends, mentors, and even acquaintances who reflect the virtues you wish to develop in yourself. Take a moment to reflect on your current social circle. Who are the people you interact with regularly? Do they push you toward greatness, or do they distract you from your goals? Do they inspire you to think more deeply and act more virtuously, or do they keep you stuck in the shallow concerns of daily life? It's not about seeking perfection in others. None of us are without flaws. Rather, it's about being intentional in surrounding yourself with individuals who are striving to better themselves just as you are. The Stoic view on relationships is grounded in the understanding that we become like the people we spend the most time with. Their habits, their values, and their attitudes rub off on us, whether we realize it or not. So, how can you start making more intentional choices about who you allow into your life? It begins with self-awareness. Know what you stand for, what virtues you aim to cultivate, and what your goals are. Then seek out those who align with that vision. This might mean reevaluating some relationships and setting boundaries with those who hinder your growth. By choosing the right people to surround yourself with, you are investing in your own development. You are creating an environment that supports your growth and encourages you to become the best version of yourself. As we continue to reflect on these Stoic teachings, I'd love to hear from you. What kind of people inspire you the most? Who in your life pushes you toward growth? Share your thoughts in the comments below, By discussing these ideas together, we can help each other grow even further. Next, let's shift our focus to the power of self-discipline, one of the core principles of Stoic philosophy. The next topic is master yourself. 5. Master yourself. At the heart of Stoicism lies the principle of self-mastery. The Stoics understood that before we can conquer the world around us, we must first conquer ourselves. But what does it truly mean to master oneself? How can you begin to gain control over your impulses, your emotions, and your thoughts to live a life of purpose and virtue? Self-mastery is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong journey. It involves the continuous practice of self-discipline, the cultivation of rational thought, and the alignment of your actions with your values. Consider for a moment, how often do you act on impulse, say something in anger, or make decisions based on fleeting emotions rather than careful reflection? The Stoics would argue that each of these moments is an opportunity for growth. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher and former slave, taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. What does freedom mean to you? Is it the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want? Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes from within. It is the freedom from being enslaved by your desires, your fears, and your emotions. It is the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of life's ups and downs, and to make choices that are in line with your higher self. To master yourself, you must first become aware of the patterns that govern your behavior. What triggers you to react impulsively? Where do you fall into habits that do not serve your long-term goals? These questions are at the heart of Stoic practice. The more we understand ourselves, the better equipped we are to make intentional choices. One of the key tools the Stoics used to master themselves was daily reflection. At the end of each day, Marcus Aurelius would review his actions and ask whether they were in line with his values. This practice of reflection allowed him to course-correct and improve his behavior over time. What if you took a few moments each evening to reflect on your own actions? How might this practice of self-examination help you to better align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your deepest values? Self-mastery also involves the regulation of our emotions. The Stoics did not believe in suppressing emotions, but rather in understanding and managing them. When you feel anger, sadness, or frustration, Stoicism teaches you to pause and examine why you are feeling that way. Is it because of something within your control, or is it due to an external event that you have no power over? By separating what is within your control from what is not, you gain clarity and can respond rationally rather than reacting impulsively. This practice of emotional regulation extends to every aspect of life. When faced with temptation, whether it's skipping a workout, indulging in unhealthy food, or procrastinating on a task, self-mastery allows you to make choices that are aligned with your long-term goals, not just your short-term desires. Each time you choose discipline over indulgence, you strengthen your ability to master yourself. Now you might be thinking, this sounds difficult, and it is. Mastering oneself requires constant vigilance and effort, but the rewards are profound. Imagine the sense of freedom you would feel if you were no longer a slave to your impulses. Picture how much more control you would have over your life if you could consistently make choices that align with your highest values. As we explore the importance of mastering yourself, I encourage you to reflect on where in your life you could apply more self-discipline. What areas of your life would improve if you had greater control over your emotions and actions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's learn from each other's experiences and support one another in this journey toward self-mastery. Now that we've explored the importance of mastering yourself, let's move on to a closely related principle in Stoicism. Say yes to what matters. 6. Say yes to what matters. In the whirlwind of modern life, distractions are everywhere. Notifications ping constantly on our phones, endless streams of entertainment pull us in, and demands from work, family, and friends can overwhelm even the most focused among us. But Stoicism teaches that every decision to engage in one activity is inherently a decision to disengage from another. The question is, are you saying yes to the things that truly matter? One of the key principles in Stoicism is the art of prioritization. Life is full of competing demands, and it's all too easy to get caught up in tasks that, while urgent, do not serve your long-term goals or align with your values. Every time you say yes to something, you are implicitly saying no to something else. Are the things you're saying yes to in alignment with the person you want to become? Let's break this down. Imagine you've been asked to stay late at work for a project that doesn't really interest you, but you feel pressured to accept. By saying yes, you might be saying no to spending valuable time with your family or pursuing a passion project that brings you joy and fulfillment. What does your decision say about your priorities? In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds us to focus on what is essential and to let go of what is unnecessary. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. What are you currently saying yes to that may not be essential? How often do we fill our lives with trivialities, only to find that we have no time or energy left for what truly matters? This is not to say that we should become rigid or inflexible. Stoicism is about balance. It's about consciously choosing where to direct your energy. Saying yes to what matters means aligning your daily actions with your long-term values and goals. It means being deliberate in how you spend your time and ensuring that your decisions reflect what is most important to you. How can you start saying yes to what matters? First, take time to clarify your values. What do you truly care about? What are your non-negotiables? Once you have a clear understanding of your priorities, you can begin to evaluate every decision through this lens. Does this action move you closer to your goals? Or is it a distraction? Is this a meaningful use of your time? Or are you saying yes out of habit or obligation? Another aspect of this principle is the power of saying no. Stoicism teaches that we must be willing to say no to things that do not serve us. This can be difficult, especially when we feel pressure to meet the expectations of others, but it is essential for maintaining control over your life. When you say no to distractions and unimportant tasks, you free up time and energy to focus on what truly matters. Think of your time as a finite resource. How will you spend it? By saying yes to what matters and no to distractions, you create space for growth, creativity, and fulfillment. You become more intentional in your actions, and your life starts to align with your deeper values. As you move forward, I encourage you to ask yourself, what are you currently saying yes to that may not align with your values? How can you begin to shift your focus toward the things that matter most? Let this reflection guide your decisions and help you build a life that is rich in meaning and purpose. Now that we've considered how to focus on what matters most, let's turn our attention to another essential Stoic practice: gratitude. 7. Gratitude, a powerful practice for inner peace. Gratitude is one of the most transformative practices in Stoicism. In a world that constantly pushes us to desire more, achieve more, and compare ourselves to others, Stoicism reminds us of the profound wisdom in appreciating what we already have. But how often do you stop to reflect on the abundance in your life? How frequently do you express gratitude, not just for the obvious blessings, but for the challenges and hardships that shape your character? The Stoics believed that the secret to contentment lies in our ability to recognize the value in every aspect of life. This practice of gratitude, however, goes beyond simply counting your blessings. It's about shifting your entire perspective on how you view the world. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to dwell on the beauty of life. Even in the darkest of times, he found reasons to be grateful, seeing every experience as an opportunity to grow and learn. Have you ever considered the value of your challenges? What if the very obstacles you dread are the ones that will bring you the most growth? Stoicism teaches us that hardship is a gift. Instead of lamenting what we lack or the difficulties we face, we are encouraged to see every struggle as an opportunity for self-improvement. When we practice gratitude for both the good and the bad, we strengthen our ability to remain resilient in the face of adversity. How might your life change if you regularly practiced gratitude, even for the things that don't seem pleasant on the surface? Imagine waking up each morning and giving thanks not just for the comforts of life, but for the challenges ahead. This simple shift in mindset can transform how you approach every aspect of your day. Gratitude also plays a crucial role in how we interact with others. When you are grateful for the people in your life, you start to see them in a different light. Instead of focusing on their flaws or the ways in which they may disappoint you, you begin to appreciate their unique contributions and the roles they play in your journey. How often do you express your appreciation for those around you? What if you made it a habit to thank them, not just for the grand gestures, but for the small, everyday acts of kindness? Consider how your relationships might deepen if you approached them with a heart full of gratitude. How would your conversations change if you focused on the positives rather than the negatives? Gratitude has the power to transform not only your perspective, but also your connections with others. One simple Stoic exercise you can start today is keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for, no matter how small. Over time, you will begin to notice a shift in your mindset. Your focus will naturally gravitate towards the abundance in your life rather than the scarcity. And as your gratitude grows, so too will your sense of peace and contentment. But gratitude is not just about feeling good in the moment. It's a tool for cultivating resilience. When life throws unexpected challenges your way, gratitude serves as a buffer, reminding you that even in hardship, there is something to be learned, something to be appreciated. The next time you face a difficult situation, ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this moment? How can this experience serve me in the long run? This practice of gratitude aligns perfectly with the Stoic understanding of what is within our control and what is not. While we may not have power over external events, we always have control over how we choose to perceive and respond to them. Gratitude gives us the power to reinterpret our circumstances and find value in every situation. As you continue on this journey of Stoic self-mastery, I encourage you to pause and reflect on your life right now. What are you grateful for in this very moment? How has the practice of gratitude already shaped your perspective? And how can you incorporate more gratitude into your daily life? Now that we've explored the transformative power of gratitude, let's move on to another core Stoic principle that will help you navigate life's challenges: cultivating a strong mindset. 8. Cultivate a strong mindset. A strong mindset is one of the cornerstones of Stoic philosophy. In a world filled with uncertainty, setbacks, and external pressures, the ability to cultivate mental strength allows us to remain grounded and purposeful. But how do we develop this strength of mind? How do we train ourselves to face life's challenges with courage and resilience? The Stoics believed that our thoughts shape our reality. If you constantly dwell on the negative, if you allow fear and doubt to dictate your actions, your life will reflect those thoughts. But what if you chose to focus on solutions rather than problems? What if you trained your mind to see every setback as an opportunity to grow? This is the essence of a Stoic mindset. Marcus Aurelius advised us to reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. What does this mean? It means that our interpretation of events often causes more suffering than the events themselves. By changing how we perceive challenges, we can transform them from sources of distress into opportunities for growth. Have you ever faced a situation where your initial reaction was frustration, but later, after reflecting, you saw how the experience made you stronger? This is the power of a strong mindset. Building mental strength is like training a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. But where do you start? Stoicism teaches us to begin by observing our thoughts. When faced with adversity, pause and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about this situation? Is this thought helping me, or is it holding me back? By questioning your automatic responses, you create space to choose a more constructive mindset. One of the most powerful tools for cultivating a strong mindset in Stoicism is the practice of negative visualization. This involves imagining the worst-case scenario, not to create fear, but to reduce its power over you. When you confront your fears head-on, you diminish their ability to control you. Ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? How would I handle it? By preparing your mind for these possibilities, you strengthen your resilience. A strong mindset also requires a focus on what is within your control. Often, we waste mental energy worrying about things we cannot change. The Stoics remind us to shift our focus inward to the thoughts, actions, and attitudes that we have direct influence over. When you let go of the need to control external events and instead focus on mastering your own mind, you regain a sense of peace and clarity. But cultivating a strong mindset isn't about ignoring reality or pretending that difficulties don't exist. It's about choosing to respond to them with a sense of purpose and resolve. It's about reframing challenges as opportunities for self-improvement. Have you ever noticed how two people can face the same hardship, yet one emerges stronger while the other crumbles? The difference lies in their mindset. How will you choose to approach the challenges in your life? Another aspect of a strong Stoic mindset is accepting impermanence. Everything in life is temporary, both the good and the bad. By acknowledging the transient nature of all things, we become less attached to outcomes and more focused on how we navigate the present moment. Are you overly concerned with controlling the future? What if you released that need and focused instead on making the best decisions right now? As you cultivate a stronger mindset, you will find that life's difficulties no longer overwhelm you. You will approach problems with a sense of curiosity rather than dread, and you will start to see obstacles as stepping stones toward personal growth. The more you train your mind, the more resilient you become. This resilience allows you to face any situation with calm and clarity, knowing that your thoughts, not the external world, determine your experience. Now let's turn to a key aspect of cultivating a strong mindset: how we choose to manage our time and energy. In the next section, we'll explore the Stoic practice of protecting your time. 9. Protect your time, your most valuable asset. Time, according to the Stoics, is one of the most precious resources we have. Unlike wealth, power, or even health, once time is gone, it cannot be recovered. How often do you find yourself wasting time on trivial pursuits, caught in distractions that pull you away from your goals and values? Stoicism teaches us that to live a purposeful and meaningful life, we must be vigilant about how we spend our time. But how do we go about protecting this fleeting resource? Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reminded himself that you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't meant to be a morbid reflection. Instead, it's a call to live each moment with intention and purpose. Have you ever paused to reflect on how much of your time is spent on activities that truly matter to you? How much of your life is filled with meaning, and how much is lost to distractions? Protecting your time starts with understanding its value. The Stoics believed that our time should be guarded more fiercely than our money or possessions. Yet, in today's world, how often do we treat time as if it were endless? How many hours are lost to mindless scrolling through social media, engaging in gossip, or being consumed by tasks that add no real value to our lives. To protect your time, the first step is clarity. What are your core values? What are the goals that drive you? Once you've identified these, you can begin to prioritize your time in a way that reflects your deepest values. This is a central tenet of Stoicism, living in alignment with your principles. Every time you say yes to one activity, you are implicitly saying no to another. Are you saying yes to the right things? One of the most practical ways to protect your time is to learn the power of saying no. This can be difficult, especially when we feel obligated to meet the expectations of others. But Stoicism teaches us that our time is limited and we must be deliberate in how we spend it. What would your life look like if you said no to things that do not serve your long-term goals? How much more time would you have to invest in what truly matters? In his writings, Seneca warns us about the dangers of allowing others to dictate how we spend our time. He writes, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." This insight is a powerful reminder that while material possessions can be regained, time cannot. What are you allowing to steal your time? How can you begin to reclaim it? A key practice in Stoicism is the art of prioritization. This means regularly assessing your activities and asking yourself whether they are moving you closer to the person you want to become. Does this task align with your values? Is it bringing you closer to your goals? If not, it may be time to let it go. By simplifying your life and focusing on what matters most, you can live with a greater sense of purpose and direction. Protecting your time also involves being mindful of how you spend your day. Are you intentional in your actions, or are you drifting from one task to the next without much thought? The Stoics understood that a well-organized life leads to a well-ordered mind. By structuring your day around your highest priorities, you not only make better use of your time, but also cultivate inner tranquility. Imagine a day where every action, every moment, is spent in service of your values. What would that feel like? How much more fulfilled would you be if you knew that your time was being spent on what truly matters? This is the essence of Stoicism, living intentionally, not reactively. Of course, this doesn't mean that every moment must be filled with productivity. Stoicism is about balance. Rest, relaxation, and time spent with loved ones are equally important, so long as they are intentional. The key is to make sure that how you spend your time aligns with your deepest values and goals. Now, I want to ask you, how are you currently spending your time? Are there activities that you can eliminate to make room for what truly matters? Take a moment to reflect on your daily routine and consider where you can make changes that align more closely with your Stoic principles. As we protect our time and focus on what truly matters, we must also ensure that we are surrounded by the right people. The next Stoic principle we will explore is surround yourself with the right people. 10. Surround yourself with the right people. Your circle shapes your growth. In Stoicism, there is great wisdom in the idea that the company you keep profoundly affects the person you become. Just as a plant grows best in fertile soil, we too thrive when surrounded by individuals who inspire, challenge, and support us. But how often do we take the time to consciously choose the people we allow into our lives? Are your relationships nurturing your personal growth, or are they holding you back? Seneca advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. This guidance is not about seeking perfection in others, but about being intentional with whom you spend your time. The people in your life influence your thoughts, actions, and ultimately your character. Ask yourself, who are the people I interact with most? Are they helping me grow, or are they keeping me stagnant? Stoicism encourages us to surround ourselves with individuals who embody the virtues we seek to develop in ourselves. These are people who are not just successful in worldly terms, but who live in alignment with their values, who are wise, kind, and courageous. When you spend time with people who are constantly striving to better themselves, their mindset and behaviors naturally influence you to do the same. But how do you choose the right people to surround yourself with? It starts with self-awareness. What are your goals? What values are most important to you? Once you have clarity on these, you can begin to seek out those who share similar values or who inspire you to reach higher. This might mean seeking mentors who can guide you, friends who challenge your thinking, or even peers who share your commitment to personal growth. At the same time, it's essential to recognize that some relationships may need to change. Stoicism teaches us the importance of setting boundaries with those who drain our energy or pull us away from our values. While this can be difficult, it's necessary for your growth. How often do you find yourself in the company of people who engage in gossip, negativity, or pettiness? How do these interactions affect your mindset and productivity? Think about the 5 people you spend the most time with. Do they inspire you to be your best self? Do they encourage you to pursue your goals and live in alignment with your values? If not, it may be time to reevaluate those relationships. Stoicism doesn't demand that you cut people out of your life, but it does encourage you to be mindful of the influence they have on you. Building a circle of individuals who support your personal development is one of the most powerful things you can do for your growth. These relationships are not about perfection, but about shared commitment to improvement. What if, instead of engaging in shallow conversations, you spent time discussing ideas, goals, and values with those around you? How might that change your outlook and approach to life? There's a Stoic exercise called sympathia, which encourages us to see ourselves as part of a larger whole, interconnected with others. This perspective reminds us that our progress is linked to the progress of those around us. By helping others grow, we too grow. Have you considered how your personal development might be enriched by lifting up those in your circle? How can you create an environment where everyone is encouraged to thrive? As you reflect on your relationships, take time to think about how you can contribute to the growth of those around you. Can you offer guidance, support, or wisdom to help others on their journey? Stoicism teaches us that self-mastery is not a solitary pursuit, but one that is deeply connected to the well-being of others. As we cultivate meaningful relationships, we also need to recognize the power of embracing vulnerability. In the next section, we'll explore embrace vulnerability. 11. Embrace vulnerability, the courage to be authentic. In a world that often celebrates strength, toughness, and invulnerability, it may seem counterintuitive to embrace vulnerability. However, Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in our ability to accept and acknowledge our weaknesses, fears, and uncertainties. Being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness. It is a profound act of courage. Have you ever held back from showing your true self out of fear of judgment? What might happen if you allowed yourself to be open and authentic? Vulnerability is an essential part of the Stoic practice of self-examination. To truly master oneself, you must first be willing to confront the parts of yourself that you find uncomfortable or imperfect. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his own shortcomings, not as a way of self-condemnation, but as a tool for growth. He understood that by acknowledging his flaws, he could work to overcome them. What areas of your life are you avoiding out of fear? What if you faced them head-on with the courage to change? Stoicism encourages us to approach vulnerability with a sense of acceptance. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what is within our control and let go of what is not. Our emotions, our fears, and our reactions to the world are within our control. But we can only manage them effectively when we are honest about their existence. By embracing vulnerability, you take the first step toward mastering yourself. You are no longer hiding from your emotions or pretending to be something you're not. Opening up about your vulnerabilities also deepens your relationships with others. When you show your true self, flaws, fears, and all, you invite others to do the same. This creates a bond of trust, empathy, and understanding. Have you ever noticed that the strongest relationships are often built on a foundation of mutual vulnerability? When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give others permission to be authentic as well. But how do you begin to embrace vulnerability in a way that aligns with Stoic principles? It starts with self-reflection. Take time each day to examine your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. What are you afraid of revealing to others, and why? What parts of yourself have you been avoiding because they make you feel uncomfortable? By acknowledging these aspects of yourself, you begin the process of integrating them into your journey of self-mastery. One practical exercise is to have an honest conversation with someone you trust. Share a fear, a mistake, or a weakness that you've been hesitant to talk about. Notice how this act of vulnerability changes the dynamic of your relationship. How does it feel to let go of the need to appear perfect? How does this openness foster a deeper connection between you and the other person? Vulnerability also requires humility. The Stoics believed that arrogance and pride are barriers to personal growth. When you embrace vulnerability, you let go of the need to be right or to appear invulnerable. You acknowledge that you are a work in progress, constantly evolving and learning. This humility is key to cultivating resilience and wisdom. Of course, vulnerability doesn't mean exposing yourself to harm or criticism unnecessarily. Stoicism teaches balance. While it's important to be open and honest, it's equally important to set boundaries and protect your well-being. The goal is to be authentic in a way that fosters growth, both for yourself and for those around you. As you reflect on the role of vulnerability in your life, ask yourself, where am I holding back? How might embracing vulnerability allow me to grow? In what ways can I be more authentic with myself and with others? By answering these questions, you begin to unlock the courage that comes from living in alignment with your true self. As we explore vulnerability, it's important to also consider how we face and overcome adversity. Next, we will dive into the Stoic principle of building resilience through adversity. 12. Cultivate resilience through adversity, turning trials into triumphs. Adversity is an inevitable part of life. No matter how carefully we plan or how much we try to avoid difficulties, we will all face challenges, setbacks, and hardships. The Stoics, however, did not see adversity as something to be feared or avoided. Instead, they viewed it as a vital element in the development of resilience and character. How do you respond when life throws unexpected challenges your way? Do you see adversity as an obstacle or as an opportunity to grow stronger? In Stoicism, adversity is not a misfortune, it is a teacher. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to practice the virtues of patience, courage, and perseverance. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This quote encapsulates the Stoic belief that the very obstacles we encounter are the path to our personal growth. Have you ever faced a challenge that, in hindsight, led to some of the greatest growth in your life? How can you apply this mindset to your current struggles? Resilience is not built by avoiding hardship, but by facing it head-on. Each time you encounter difficulty and choose to persevere, you strengthen your ability to handle future challenges with greater ease. What if, instead of dreading adversity, you welcomed it as a chance to practice Stoic virtues? How might this shift in mindset change the way you experience hardship? One of the most powerful Stoic practices for building resilience is to embrace the idea of amor fati, the love of fate. This concept teaches us to not only accept what happens to us, but to love it, to see every experience, whether good or bad, as necessary for our growth. When you practice amor fati, you no longer resist adversity or wish things were different. Instead, you embrace each moment, knowing that it is part of your journey. How would your life change if you accepted everything that happens as something meant to help you grow? Stoicism also teaches us to prepare for adversity through a practice known as negative visualization. This involves imagining the worst-case scenarios, not to create fear or anxiety, but to reduce their power over you. By contemplating how you would handle potential difficulties, you build the mental and emotional strength to face them when they arise. This practice helps you see that even in the worst of times, you have the inner resources to cope. Consider the last time you faced a significant challenge. How did you react? Did you approach it with calm and clarity, or did you allow fear and frustration to take over? The Stoics would encourage you to reflect on how you can respond more effectively next time. By practicing resilience in small, everyday challenges, you prepare yourself to handle life's bigger tests with grace. Building resilience also means letting go of the need to control everything. Epictetus reminds us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. While we may not be able to control the events that occur in our lives, we have full control over how we choose to respond. This is the essence of Stoicism, focusing on what is within our control and letting go of the rest. As you cultivate resilience, remember that adversity is not something to be avoided, but something to be embraced. Each challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, to refine your character, and to move closer to the person you aspire to be. How can you start viewing adversity as a tool for growth rather than a burden? What steps can you take to build resilience in your daily life? Having explored the importance of resilience, let's now reflect on the power of introspection and self-awareness. The next Stoic principle is the art of reflection. 13. The art of reflection, the Stoic path to wisdom. Reflection is one of the most important tools in Stoicism for personal growth and self-mastery. The Stoics understood that a life without self-examination is a life lived on autopilot, disconnected from one's true values and potential. How often do you take the time to reflect on your actions, thoughts, and choices? Are you living in alignment with your values, or are you drifting through life without purpose? Marcus Aurelius practiced daily reflection, asking himself whether his actions were consistent with his Stoic principles. This simple but powerful exercise allowed him to continually refine his behavior and ensure that he was living in accordance with his values. What if you made reflection a daily habit? How might this practice help you stay focused on what truly matters? Stoicism teaches that the unexamined life leads to dissatisfaction and inner conflict. When we don't take the time to reflect on our decisions, we can easily become disconnected from our goals and values. How many times have you made a choice in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Reflection gives you the opportunity to pause, consider your actions, and make better decisions moving forward. The Stoics believed that reflection should be done with both honesty and compassion. This means being truthful about where you have fallen short, but also recognizing that growth takes time. Reflection is not about self-criticism. It's about learning from your experiences and applying those lessons to the future. Are there areas of your life where you could benefit from more self-awareness? What might you discover about yourself if you took the time to reflect regularly? One practical way to incorporate reflection into your life is by journaling. Each day, take a few minutes to write about your experiences, your thoughts, and how well you lived in accordance with your values. What went well today? Where did you struggle? How can you improve tomorrow? This simple exercise can provide clarity and insight, helping you stay grounded in your Stoic principles. Reflection also encourages humility. As you examine your actions, you begin to see areas where you can improve. You realize that you are not perfect, and that's okay. Stoicism is not about perfection, but progress. How can you embrace this humility in your daily life? How can you use reflection to become more self-aware and intentional in your actions? By practicing the art of reflection, you gain a deeper understanding of yourself and your path in life. you become more deliberate in your choices and more aligned with your values. Over time, this leads to greater inner peace and fulfillment as you know that you are living authentically. Next, we'll explore how Stoicism teaches us to develop a robust mindset, a key element of self-mastery and personal growth. 14. Cultivate a robust mindset, strengthening your mental fortress. A robust mindset is at the core of Stoicism. The philosophy teaches that the strength of your mind determines how well you navigate the world and handle life's inevitable challenges. But how do you build a mindset that is resilient, focused, and unshakable in the face of adversity? How do you train your mind to remain calm and clear, no matter what life throws your way? The Stoics believed that a well-trained mind is like a fortress, able to withstand the pressures of external events and emotional turbulence. Your thoughts, your interpretations of what happens to you, and the choices you make in response, these are all within your control. But how often do we allow ourselves to be swept away by circumstances beyond our control? Do you react impulsively, letting anger, fear, or frustration guide your actions? Or do you pause, reflect, and make decisions that align with your deeper values? One of the most powerful Stoic practices for cultivating a robust mindset is negative visualization. This involves deliberately imagining worst-case scenarios. Why? Because by confronting the possibility of loss, failure, or hardship, you reduce their emotional impact. If you've already mentally prepared for the worst, you'll be less shaken when difficult situations arise. How might your mind change if you practiced imagining setbacks and preparing yourself to handle them with grace and fortitude? Marcus Aurelius urged himself to practice misfortune, to mentally rehearse how he would respond to difficult situations. This wasn't to create fear, but to build resilience. By practicing negative visualization, he could approach life's uncertainties with a calm and balanced mindset. When you imagine the challenges that might come your way and prepare yourself mentally, they lose their power over you. Have you ever noticed that anxiety tends to lessen when you confront your fears directly? But a robust mindset isn't just about preparing for the worst, it's also about maintaining a focus on what is within your control. The Stoics believed that we waste enormous amounts of mental energy worrying about things we cannot change. Instead, they encouraged us to direct our focus toward what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses. Are you focusing on the things that truly matter, or are you letting your mind become consumed with distractions and worries that are beyond your influence? One way to strengthen your mental focus is through regular mindfulness practices. Stoicism encourages us to stay present and engaged with the current moment, rather than getting lost in the past or worrying about the future. How often do you allow your mind to wander into thoughts of regret or fear about what may come? What if, instead, you focused on the task at hand, approaching each moment with full attention? A robust Stoic mindset also involves accepting that life is unpredictable and often outside of our control. When you embrace this reality, you become less attached to specific outcomes and more focused on how you respond to whatever happens. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. How can you apply this wisdom to your life? The next time you face a challenge, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, how can I choose a response that reflects my highest self? The Stoics also practiced what is called preemptive pessimism. This doesn't mean expecting bad things to happen, but rather acknowledging that they might. By accepting that setbacks, losses, and difficulties are a natural part of life, you can maintain a strong and balanced mindset when they occur. You're not caught off guard, and you don't waste time lamenting the fact that things didn't go as planned. Instead, you focus on how to move forward. Finally, cultivating a robust mindset requires persistence. Stoicism teaches that mental strength is built through consistent practice, just like physical strength. Each day, you have the opportunity to train your mind. to choose how you will respond to challenges, to practice gratitude in the face of adversity, and to remain focused on what truly matters. What mental exercises can you incorporate into your daily routine to strengthen your mindset? Could you spend time each morning setting intentions or reflect each evening on how well you lived according to your Stoic values? As you cultivate a robust mindset, you will find that life's ups and downs no longer have the same power to disturb your peace. You will approach difficulties with calm confidence, knowing that your mind is your greatest asset in navigating the world. Next, let's explore one of the most important aspects of living a Stoic life: living in alignment with your values. 15. Live in alignment with your values, the path to a life well lived. The ultimate goal of Stoicism is not just to survive life's challenges, but to thrive by living a life in harmony with your deepest values. What does it mean to live a virtuous life? How often do you reflect on whether your daily actions align with the person you want to become? Are you truly living according to your principles, or are you letting external pressures and distractions pull you away from your core beliefs? In Stoicism, virtue is the highest good. The Stoics believed that living in alignment with one's values, principles like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, is what leads to a life of true fulfillment. But living according to your values isn't always easy. It often requires difficult choices, sacrifices, and the willingness to go against the grain of societal expectations. How often do you find yourself making decisions based on what others expect, rather than what aligns with your values? What if you chose to prioritize your principles above all else? Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of staying true to one's values, writing, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This clear, unwavering commitment to living with integrity is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. But how can you begin to live more intentionally, making sure that every action reflects your core beliefs? The first step is to clearly define your values. What do you stand for? What kind of person do you want to be? Take time to reflect on these questions and write down your core principles. Once you've identified your values, you can use them as a compass to guide your decisions. When faced with a choice, ask yourself, does this action align with my values? How does this decision reflect the person I aspire to be? Living in alignment with your values also means recognizing that every action has consequences. Stoicism teaches that our daily choices shape the larger arc of our lives. What small decisions are you making each day that either bring you closer to or further from your ideals? Are there habits or behaviors that you need to change in order to live more authentically? One of the challenges of living according to your values is that it often requires saying no to things that don't serve your highest good. This might mean declining opportunities that don't align with your goals or setting boundaries with people who don't support your growth. But Stoicism reminds us that living a virtuous life is worth the discomfort. As Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." How can you muster the courage to live a life fully aligned with your values, even when it's difficult? Living in alignment with your values also brings a deep sense of purpose. When your actions reflect your principles, you no longer feel the inner conflict that arises from acting out of fear, obligation, or societal pressure. Instead, you move through life with confidence and clarity, knowing that you are staying true to yourself. How would your life change if every decision you made was grounded in your deepest beliefs? Stoicism teaches that true happiness comes from within, from knowing that you are living a life of integrity. When you align your actions with your values, you cultivate a sense of inner peace that external circumstances cannot shake. Have you ever experienced the deep satisfaction that comes from making a decision based on your values, even when it was hard? How can you bring more of this alignment into your life? As we conclude this exploration of Stoic principles, remember that the journey towards self-mastery is ongoing. It requires daily reflection, intentional choices, and the willingness to grow. But by living in alignment with your values, you can create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling, a life of purpose, strength, and virtue. We've explored 15 Stoic principles that can help you unlock your inner strength and achieve self-mastery. These timeless teachings offer practical tools for cultivating resilience, living in alignment with your values, protecting your time, and embracing challenges. Stoicism is not just a philosophy to be studied. It is a way of life that can transform how you think, act, and engage with the world. I encourage you to reflect on these Stoic principles and incorporate them into your daily life. Which of these teachings resonated most with you? How can you start applying them today? Let's continue this conversation in the comments. Share your thoughts, experiences, and questions. Together, we can support each other on this journey toward personal growth and mastery. If you found value in this exploration of Stoic philosophy, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who may benefit from these insights. Thank you for being part of this journey, and may you continue to grow in wisdom, strength, and inner peace.